welcome all to episode 61 of the Solo Gamer Podcast. My name is Ian, and I am joined, as ever, by the regal lords of solo gaming podcasts. Taylor, what's going on, man? Welcome back. Week 2 in a row. We've done it.
Yeah, no, thanks. It feels good to be back and get back into the swing of things. I shaved my head. I don't know if I was bald at the time. Man. Thank you. I didn't know if I shaved my head. Too. Oh, thank you. I was wearing this, so if anybody wants to green screen something crazy onto it.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like a choose your own adventure type thing.
Hey, don't encourage that behavior.
sounds a little sexual. I got to choose your own adventure all over my body.
Right, there you go, right? So whatever the audience wants to do with it, you can do it, but I don't know if I actually was bald at the time that we started the Solo Gamer. Or right around when it was big.
That's a good question. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's like kind of a thing within the last maybe year and a half of my life.
Yeah, no, you definitely weren't then when we started. I mean, I've just been seeing you, in pictures and stuff that whole time, so I'm just used to it. But you're totally right about that. You were not bald when we started this show.
Yeah, so
dude, the Solo Gamer Podcast made you lose your hair.
Dude, right? No, the absence of it, I think, made me lose my hair.
Oh no!
And now that it's back, it'll regrow.
Another episode again.
Never.
Look what you've done.
The Solo Gamer. Substitute for Rogaine.
Yeah. Well, we're about to find out how long it's going to take.
Right?
But it's going to keep coming in here for you.
Right. Well, I was just going to say, so I shaved the head today, did not trim the beard yet. So you'll get gross Taylor last episode, nice clean shaven head this episode, and then beard trim next episode. So it's something to look forward to.
I'll tell you what, Alicia's loving the show because it makes me shave every time. I'm like, I got to shave. I look like a fucking like it's a homeless man talking about video game. I'm like out there under the bridge, but I have my OG Xbox hooked up out there, and I'm talking about games every week. So
I don't want to hear it from either of you guys. This is about all I can do right here. I wish I could have a big old messy beard.
And the man who can't grow a beard, Kyle, welcome to the show, my friend.
Yo.
That's what a great emasculating intro.
And now to the guy who can't grow facial hair.
I just sling out insults. I'm like, we got a bald host and a man who can't grow a beard.
Then there's Ian right in the middle, able to do it all.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a metal spine, so we're all fucked up in our own way.
Yeah, right. Pick your poison.
Win.
Well, I don't know. I mean, most people say they don't notice that my left shoulder is significantly higher than my right shoulder. And I guess I'm surprised that people don't notice because it's so significant that when I go to button up a shirt, I have to move. I got to line that shit up.
Yeah.
There are times if I'm rushing and I have a button up shirt, I'm like, oh, and I go and I get to the bottom and I'm like, wait. And it's one off all the way up the shirt because it's so off. So I have to undo it, drop my left shoulder, get those to line up.
Dude, that's wild.
And then put them in. So,
man,
there we go. It's I guess
I have a hard enough time buttoning up my shirt without a lopsided shoulder.
Man, we need to change the name of the Three Cripples podcast or something like that. Oh man, well, it's good to have you guys. It feels great to know that this has been coming. I've just been super excited again. It's oh man, we're really back into it. We have everything set up. We've got our cool recording software. We listened to the show last week for quality purposes, and we're like, man, okay, these guys were loud and this was quiet and I had to fix this and this sounded this way. So we're always working on that. We're always trying to get it right, get it sounding nice and silky smooth for you
crispy
listeners. Oh, crispy as well. You doing okay over there, Kyle?
Oh, I'm dying.
So we'll continue to work on that. I mean, someday I'll if we can get some people to really, like a lot of people to start listening, maybe I'll put in for like an SM57 and a interface and all that stuff to really make it sound amazing. But until then, you're getting the Blue Yeti, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
The double Blue Yeti. Is that triple? What do you got over there?
I got a Blue Yeti too, but this is the old version of it. I think it's probably like a generation or two behind your guys's.
I've got the Blue Yeti X.
Well, I think I've had this since like 2015 or something.
I told Ian earlier today I have the Blue Rhino.
I was like, what is that?
And he responded with, cool, man, I got the Blue Yeti X. He didn't even say a word. Just being nice about it. I'm like,
I wasn't being nice.
It's blue.
I wasn't being nice. I thought maybe it was, dude, I bought this mic a few years back. It's not like I'm up on Blue's, like lineup of different kinds of mics. So I didn't know that Blue Rhino wasn't a blue mic until you outed yourself and you're like, oh yeah, Yeti. We always just mistaken Yetis for rhinos.
Just getting large beasts mixed up.
Just played like it was just like, man, this guy's got a cool ass microphone. I just got the Yeti.
I got a Yeti X, man. I got to upgrade to the Rhino. I think we need to get a hold of Yeti.
Right.
Or Blue, I should say. It's Blue. Because I had when I was in my first band with my good buddy Arthur, he had a blue mic, and it was some kind of bird. It was a bluebird. That's what it was called, bluebird.
Oh, nice.
Play on words. And it was like a tall, cylindrical, tall mic. And that was the first vocal mic that I sang into. Hey, the kitty is welcome. Kitty is welcome at the Solo Gamer Podcast. Yeah. Stop beating the shit out of your cat on the camera.
I was like, can you just groom your butthole outside of the frame? I think that would maybe be a little better.
The people need to see this, Dad.
Yeah. This is what I think of your show. I'd rather taste my ass than listen to you talk about this anymore.
This is horrible.
Oh man.
I'm trying to see. There's no dogs. No, I thought my crazy little dog might run in here, but she didn't last week, and so I don't think they can figure out the door over here. The door gets closed, and it's like, well, he's dead.
Yeah.
Because last time I came out, they were acting as if I just got home from work. I'm like, I've been here the whole time.
Anytime you come from the other side of a door, it's like you came from another universe.
Dogs are the best, man. We're going to start a dog podcast. I don't know what it's going to be called yet, though. I was going to call it the Solo Dog Podcast. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, so I'll workshop that for next week. But there's plenty that you could do. I really want to. I was telling Kyle this morning at the gym that I feel like my little dog, she's like a crazy athlete. My other dog is like a clumsy idiot. He couldn't do anything if he wanted to, but in the best way, like the most lovable clumsy idiot. But the little one, Olive, she's crazy. She's super fast and agile, and she's really attentive and just like makes tons of eye contact and is just wired and ready to rock. And I think she would be super good at that, like dog agility.
Yeah,
they run through the tunnels,
obstacle course,
over the jumps, and through the little poles. Where she's like, she would just, if I could figure out how to do that, and I had like the time and the money,
right?
Man, I would do that. That would be a lot of fun.
Honestly.
I think she'd be super good at it. I wonder what kind of people you'd meet in that community.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I don't know. I just feel like I might not fit in.
Yeah. Well, you don't think you'd be able to talk to the obstacle course dog people about The Last of Us, or
right? Yeah, or or football. Like I can't imagine they're into football or The Last of Us.
I'm getting some like filthy rich vibes when I watch those.
Right. It's funny you say that because Alicia said that if we were to ever win the lottery, you could do that for your your daily need to do something.
Yeah.
And like you're right. I probably would do that, as I would become that person that just sunk all of my time into my dog and lost all perspective on the world.
Right.
What's important? Like, no, my dog must win the championship of tunnel running.
The Yukonuba. or whatever they call it.
Yeah, that's right. What is it? The AKC? Is it AKC? American Kennel Club?
I don't
Dude,
know.
I watch dog shows. I've been watching dog shows with my mom for like decades. This is where I learned all the dog breeds. It was fun.
You're the right guy to coach Olive.
Man, half of watching dog shows is mocking the people who are showing the dogs.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
I mean, boy, they come out there and they're struggling. A lot of them are really struggling.
Good people watch.
It's a good people watch. You're like, oh, the dog is so cute, and I love this dog. And then you're like, oh, Jesus, get a load of this guy. You know, it's like,
whoa, hey.
We like love the dogs and just fucking slag the humans with shit. Like,
yeah,
it's the most
just tear them apart.
Ever. Yeah, pretty much. Which, of course, if I ran out there, like, look at this crooked motherfucker. His left shoulder is so high. No. Well, everyone, we have a great show for you this week. We're still in catch-up mode a little bit. That's catch-up, CATCH, not the Heinz kind. We're catching up a little bit on everything we've failed to address during our long absence, our hiatus, if you will. So last week we spent way more time than we expected we would just talking about everything we've been playing. And that's just what we were playing in the moment, not even all the stuff we've played since the last time we did a show. So we figured, all right, let's hold off on our usual kind of topic base and just kind of cover the last bit of it. I've always said this is not a gaming news show, and I generally mean to stick to that. I feel like there's a lot of people in the industry analysis business podcasting that are 1,000 times more qualified and knowledgeable than any of the three of us are. But that said, I feel like we get so in depth about our favorite games, and whenever we talk about these games, we inevitably end up talking about the platforms we're playing on and the developers that created the games. And I just feel like it's weird to just talk about this stuff and not pay any attention to the people and kind of like the industry politics and the happenings of what's going on, because it's going to directly affect the hobby that we love so much. And it's weird to just talk about this stuff in a vacuum and just pretend like nothing's going on.
It changes the landscape. I mean, quite literally, and we'll get more into it, but since we started the podcast, like a lot of the things we're talking about today have like completely changed the landscape of like what we know video games to be. Mm-hmm. So it's just crazy how much change there can be in a few years, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely nuts. It's chaos, especially lately, ever since COVID. I mean, obviously COVID just really, really upended many industries around the world, but definitely the gaming industry. We can kind of start with that as like a quick, kind of going into our main, kind of the first one we're going to talk about. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to point out that we're always going to sort of like the what we're playing segment, which will be every week. You can always count on kind of having these different segments. We're going to address some of the same things before we jump into our primary topic each week. And I feel like those primary two segments will be what we're playing and just if there is anything noteworthy, have a discussion on what's going on in the industry, just at least as a contextual backdrop or framing for what we're talking about, because it just feels weird to me to just it feels weird for me to even bring up Elder Scrolls Online without talking about what just happened at ZeniMax Media, ZeniMax Software and everything. So I just online studios, that is. So I just want to just point that out. If you are into industry news, I would definitely recommend other podcasts if that's like your primary thing that you're listening for. But at the same time, we welcome opinions, write-ins. We're going to have our own opinions. We're going to talk about this stuff to the best of our ability. We just really enjoy it. I enjoy it. I like knowing kind of the same thing with movies. You know, I love knowing who the director is and who the writer is and who wrote the score and what studio made this, because it if you're into something like that, it just kind of gives you an idea of what something might be like, if it's going to be up your alley or, you know, or maybe you'll be surprised because you never thought this director would make a movie about this subject or whatever. So kind of the same thing. It's just it's kind of an important backdrop, and I really love this stuff. So
me too.
So we're just going to we just want to catch up on a bunch of the stuff that's happened, even just in the last like month or two, let alone the last 6 months. And we'll do that. But so that's coming up. That'll be our primary conversation today. And then of course we'll start getting back into our more specific topic based episodes starting next week. And we have a pretty good idea for next week. Pretty I would say it's going to take some homework for the three of us to sit down and figure that out. So I'll leave that tease there, and we'll come back and do it at the end of the episode. But let's start with what we're playing. That's not going to be 2 hours long, and we're gonna just roll through a few of those games. I love hearing what you guys are doing, where you are, what you're thinking, what you're feeling as you're playing through these games. It's kind of fun to keep up each week, and just sort of hear what's happening with you guys. Kyle, kick us off, man. What last week you were playing KCD2, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and it looks like you have another game on here as well. But just take us through it, man. Take us through your week in gaming. What have you been playing?
Oh man, surprisingly, I didn't get to play a whole lot. I did get a little bit further in KCD2. I haven't even honestly been playing the main storyline a whole lot. I've just been enjoying just being in that universe in a sense, and going around playing all the side missions, doing the extra things like you know just go off and hunt for several hours if you want to, or put yourself into like tournaments and fight people or horse racing. There's a lot to it. Kind of like similar to like I get like a Red Dead Redemption vibe with that, where they put a lot of focus in just allowing you to just kind of do whatever you want to, and all of it is a lot of fun. None of it, has felt shallow so far, in regards to like the writing with the characters on all the side quests. I've been thoroughly impressed with anything and everything that I've interacted with so far in that game. But aside from that, I saw that there was a new patch that came out for Oblivion. So I started picking that up. Oddly enough, the patch was like, I believe I told you it was like 5 gigs, right? 5 gigabytes of a patch.
5 gigabyte patch.
Pretty substantial. And basically most of it was boasted as, it's a big fix for all the bugs that have been going on with the crashes, especially with PC. Apparently has been having most of those issues. But oddly enough, it was like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes into the game, and it crashed on me.
Oh no! Are you on PC?
Xbox.
Oh shit! So it's crashing on the consoles too.
Yeah, and that was which I didn't even have that issue the first time I played it.
I was going to say on PC, I haven't experienced any crashes, fortunately.
Yeah, so maybe this patch created a new bug that we're not aware of, but
it does happen.
It does happen. Yeah, I can't hate on it. But I'm excited to play it. This time I'm going to go around and be a sneaky bow guy. And
oh hell yeah,
that's my favorite. That's my second favorite, I should say. Usually I just go through and kill everything in one hit with a hammer. Is my first playthrough. I don't know why. I just love doing that.
Love that.
And then I go back and more of an assassin with a bow. And so I just barely started touching that. And honestly, that's going to be my new replacement now that I've beaten Avowed. It's going to be my new replacement for kind of background gaming while I'm working or pretending to work. But I beat Avowed. I wish I had a whole lot to say about it. As I had mentioned in the last episode, it was just like it's not terrible, but it's also not impressive in any way other than the gameplay is fun, like the actual fighting.
God, that's so sad to me.
Yeah, and you get to the end of the story, and I was almost just like starting to skip dialogue, and it's, it was like, okay, when is the end? Because I need to get this achievement and get out of here.
Yeah, that's saying a lot for you. You're not a dialogue skipper.
No, definitely not. It's just, I didn't feel like I cared about any of the characters. That was the hard part, especially the main character has zero personality, really, and all the options for dialogue. I didn't really like any of them. It was your
I remember that too.
Yeah.
It wasn't really letting you take on a role. Like, it was all just very, I mean, there's some that are like more mean than others maybe, but for the most part, I didn't really feel like I could jump into it. I'm a big headcanon guy. I actually have a follow-up question for you about this, but I want to let you finish about Avowed. I'm agreeing with you on that. It just felt like no matter what you choose, you're going to end up at the same end spot, no matter what. It's a very thin veil of choice that's not real.
I mean, speaking of Veil, I mean, that's similar to Dragon Age, the Veilguard. And I haven't even played that game yet, but that's like the number one complaint that scares me from playing it is, throughout, you have all these different dialogue options and all these different ways to interact with these characters, but they all end up resulting in the same thing no matter what you say. And so the dialogue feels pointless. And so that's why I was eventually just like, I'm skipping this. It doesn't matter what I say. We're going to get the same result. So give me the story.
Yeah, you're not authoring anything. You're not really you're not given the agency to affect these characters in the way that you want to. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, now that you bring it up too, I feel like those two games are seemingly, because I haven't played either of them yet, but Dragon Age Veilguard and Avowed seem to be very similar games. Like, I'm pretty sure they both started off also being live service games and then were hastily kind of cobbled together into kind of a single player game.
You're totally right about that. They were both multiplayer games to start. That is absolutely correct. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I didn't know how many times they had to change gears and go in a different direction. I feel sorry for them, honestly. I'm not even blaming the developers, especially with Avowed, because when you read into it, you see how leadership just kind of jerked them in all sorts of different directions. And of course, they never were able to actually fully complete any sort of thought or idea, and had to rush and put a game together real quickly at the end. And you can tell it's like there's just no depth to this game.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised by that too, because it's Obsidian. Like, they've had the same leadership structure there, and we'll get into Xbox later. Xbox is not a meddling, annoying, evil corporate entity. In fact, they're
to their detriment. Maybe
they're the complete opposite. They're like ignoring everything and not doing their job. So it's surprising that Obsidian got twisted up into knots like that with Avowed. And why were you trying to make a multiplayer? That sounds like something that a corporation like Microsoft and Xbox would do, but we know that they don't do anything. So it's they just buy you and leave you alone. So it's odd to hear that. I would like to know. I feel like maybe in a few years we're going to get some more of the story of what happened with that, because it was clearly a mistake. And
I would love to hear about it.
It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't line up with their vision or their creative direction at all.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of hope behind that game. And with the advertisements and everything, it looked very promising. The universe, I will say this, I really like the universe, the art style, it all looks great. But yeah, I mean, the characters and the story is just, I don't care what's happening right now.
Yeah, it was on. I would have said, if you would have asked me in 2020 or 2019 what my most anticipated games would be that were far flung in the future at the time, we didn't even know they were coming out, Avowed was definitely on there, because I had been just freshly played through Pillars of Eternity. We got that really dope teaser trailer with the flaming arrow flying through the world, and people kind of pieced together that it was in the Pillars universe, and pretty much ever since that point, I was like, oh, the idea of having like a Bethesda style open world role playing game set in the Pillars of Eternity universe with Obsidian writing it, like how could this like fail, you know?
Yeah.
And if only I had known, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How many times do we hear that comparison of, is this the next Skyrim? You know,
All
we
the time.
haven't had anything,
which is totally unfair to Obsidian. Like,
yeah, I know.
Is this the next tentpole fantasy role-playing game that every single fantasy role-playing game after it will be modeled after in some way and will touch every single corner of the entire industry and sell tens of millions of copies and be, I mean, it's impossible. There will never be another Skyrim. There will be another big game, but Skyrim is like, you know, that's,
I don't even think
so
Elder Scrolls
unfair.
6 will be the next Skyrim.
No, Skyrim, Skyrim is like one of those things where, and now, you know, everyone has the gift of hindsight and they're like, oh, like this is wrong with Skyrim and that is wrong with Skyrim. And there's plenty of criticisms you can take towards Skyrim. I've got a number of issues with it, but it is one of the most impactful, biggest games of all time. And it was just a time and a place, you know, it's just time and place. Like,
yeah, I don't think
right
that
time,
there's
right
been,
place.
I don't think there's been a nerdy role-playing game that's captured the zeitgeist so well. I would say Elden Ring was probably the last one. I was
just about to say Elden Ring and Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I knew people who were never into RPGs that were like super hardcore into Elden Ring, and it was just like I had not seen that since Skyrim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really feel like those games were the ones that grabbed everybody. Obviously, Cyberpunk in the beginning did not work out well at all. Unlike Skyrim, but now, you know, I mean, I think it's sold over 30 million copies alone. Yeah, so yeah, that's 3 games in what? So Elden Ring came out in 2019 and Cyberpunk came out in 2020. So that's 3 games in a decade.
Yeah.
That kind of, you know, are in a similar genre that just blasted through kind of that glass ceiling of nerdiness and, you know, got the Call of Duty bros to put down their controller for a minute and go buy this other game. So it does happen. So, I was thinking when you were talking about Oblivion and how there's a couple different thoughts here. Do you play Oblivion, you generally like you go through and you play with like the 2-handed warrior style, and then now you're playing the sneaky guy. And it's an interesting thought, and there's 2 branching paths I want to ask you, both of you guys, about. And the first one is with a game like Elder Scrolls or Fallout or like any of these games that really let you create the character from scratch like that, and have kind of an overarching storyline that you're going to complete where it kind of sets you up as the hero. But then you have these other storylines that clearly are more villainous, like very kind of evil stuff, like the Dark Brotherhood or whatever. Do you normally create 2 characters in Elder Scrolls games? One to do the stuff that lines up with like quote unquote good, and then one that lines up with the evil stuff, and you do them separately. Especially their skills are completely different, but it also just makes more sense. That's kind of what I think in my head. Is that something you guys do as well? Like in all the Elder Scrolls games and stuff?
I don't know if I do it to that extent. I guess what I should say is my focus is just more about like the type of class of character that I'm going to be playing, and if what I'm doing actually fits that. That's what matters to me. I mean, to me, with Elder Scrolls games, whether you're good or evil, at the end of the day, if you want to beat the game, you're good. So for me, it's like I don't really think about the good versus evil side of things. It's just more of a, you know, if I'm playing an assassin, what sort of guilds would they actually be joining? You know, that would make sense. Or, you know, if I'm playing a warrior, you know, vice versa. So, I'm curious what you think, Taylor.
Yeah, I will absolutely make a second character if I'm going to do kind of like a more like renegade quote unquote path for my character. Reason being is because the first character always starts off for me as a self-insert kind of paladin type character, and I play and make decisions how I would think that I would make that decision if I were there. So that's usually always the first playthrough. But specifically when it comes to stuff like Oblivion, Skyrim, like where we have like the Dark Brotherhood and stuff like that, I will like absolutely make a second character so I can make those decisions and not have myself be like taken out of the story weirdly. Because if I'm playing my goody two shoes kind of paladin character and I murder somebody, you know, through like a Dark Brotherhood quest line, like even though it's really not going to make sense for like the grand, like it's not really going to matter in the grand scale of the story within the game, it still kind of takes me out of like my personal role play of it. So I will like absolutely make a second character and play it like kind of more renegade, like even if the choices really don't matter at the end of the day. So I feel like I'm kind of right there with you on that one.
Yeah, it's weird to me. Like it's not weird. Like I think a person's weird for doing it, but I just don't. If I'm the Dragonborn, I know people who will play and they'll do like everything with one character, and obviously you have the class part of it that you're talking about, Kyle, where it's kind of difficult to do because you're trying to level up all of these. If you're trying to in Skyrim, if you're trying to level 12 different trees, you're not gonna level any of them up very far, so you're not going to be very effective. So from like a very cold hard data driven class build, that doesn't work. But even if you could do it, it just never made any sense to me. Like this guy's saving the world and he's working with Martin Septim, and meanwhile he's just like butchering people and like
women and children.
All hail Sithis, and like it's just like, how do you keep all of this together? It just doesn't make any sense. Like I kind of like coming up with sort of I always have two characters in Elder Scrolls games, and they will follow the path for both reasons that you guys gave. Like,
so
go ahead.
Do you not finish the game then if you're playing as an evil character?
Yeah, so I always start with kind of I don't go by class necessarily, though with Elder Scrolls specifically, the good guy, quote unquote, so the Dragonborn or the hero of Kvatch, or the Nerevarine in Morrowind, like all the three kind of main characters, if you're doing the main story, those are my main story characters. So I'm going to do the main story plus anything that kind of makes sense, like what they might do. Same. So in my Dragonborn, my other thing, I have all these weird little things that just help me with all of the, like, I'm kind of an indecisive person in a lot of things. So the more ways that I can kind of gate myself into making a decision, the more I'll enjoy the process of creating the character. Because if I'm just like, okay, I've got 10 races and endless classes, like, what do I want to do here? Whereas like if I go in with an idea that's a combination of like what I want to do in the game, but that will also be fun and kind of work with the theme of the storyline, I'll not only have an easier time playing through it, but I'll have more fun too, because it'll fit, it'll feel good, it'll look good, I feel like I'm not, I know you can't change their height, but like whenever you see people in Oblivion make like the horrifying, like messed up people and stuff, and it's funny, it's hilarious, it's like objectively funny, that character creator, but like people will play it and they'll like play through the whole game like looking like a Jay Leno meme and like not they're just unbothered by it. Like it's just like it's like very unserious. Like and that just doesn't jive with the way that I want to fit in. I want to be a part of the world and feel like, because later on in other games they're going to reference the hero of Kvatch, and they might not give you any specific details, but I don't want to think of American Dad when I think of the hero of Kvatch. Like I want to think of the character that I made that someone who writes lore for Bethesda would have come up with. That's just the way that I like to think about those things. So I'll make a character. So like Oblivion, I'll do or Skyrim or whatever. Skyrim, I make a Nord, and you you get pulled over on the border or whatever and set, arrested by the Imperials and all that in the beginning of the game. So you can it gives you a little bit to start with, like why your character may have been there. And then I'll do everything that kind of makes sense for like a Nord warrior. So I'll do like two-handed, and I'll do heavy armor and shield and sword kind of a thing, or whatever, like the things that work for that. And I'll do the companions, and I'll do all of these the different quests that kind of line up with that, and then I'll finish the main story, and I'll do everything I want to do with that character, and I'll hit save, and then I'll go back and I'll start the game over again, and I'll make a dark elf or an Argonian or whatever the case may be, a race that's lines more with like stealth, wood elf, whatever, and I'll just sort of like not think about the fact that the beginning is exactly the same. It's like these are just two different people that were both in the world at the same time. They're kind of coexisting, and their events are happening at the same time in my head. And then I'll do the Thieves Guild, and maybe like the last time I played Skyrim, my evil character was an assassin, but I used a lot of like illusion magic and I can't remember, maybe alteration as well. So I could like unlock doors with magic, and I could turn invisible, and I could paralyze people, and I could just make my feet softer, like quiet feet or whatever, to be even quieter. It's like all these things that enhanced my assassin's ability. So that character was good with magic. So I was like, well, it would make sense that you might want to have a cover if you're just this evil fucking Dark Brotherhood and head of the Thieves Guild, and all you do is just all this evil stuff, and the only time anyone sees you is like entering into a sewer or a crypt all the time. Like you might want to have something that people wouldn't expect. So then I'll do like the mages, or I guess it's the wizards college or whatever. And that's like the cover for, that's how that character exists in the world, with this face of being the leader of the Winterhold College, where in reality they're actually, in charge of the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood, and they're Daedra worshippers, and that, they're kind of a mage. So I just figure this stuff out. And I play Skyrim or Oblivion 50 times over my lifetime, and I've kind of remembered the ones that felt the best, that made the most sense with the story, that were the most fun to play, kind of all those combinations, and I'll just kind of keep doing that over and over every time I play them. So that's what I'm going to do with Oblivion when I do get back into it. I did start it and got a little bit of the ways into it, but I think I'm going to restart. I don't love the way my character looks. So restart and just kind of, it's been a while since I played it, so I'll probably jump into it later this year and play that again. So anyway, that was kind of a tangent, but I was just kind of curious. I've just started thinking about that, like the way people play games and like why they do what they do and what's fun about it.
It's very different for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I know. That's what makes it interesting.
I definitely am like a big time like min-maxer. And my math brain goes crazy in these type of games. And so I'm thinking more of like, how powerful can I get? How strong will I get if I get this perfect build put together? I'm thinking about stuff like that. And I'm like excited to level things up and to see how strong and, how effective, a certain thing is, whatever the case may be. Like when the first time I played Skyrim, the first thing I did was get to level 99 smithing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I just hammered out iron bars for like hours. That was my first experience with Skyrim because I'm crazy.
But not really. I think a lot of people do that. I feel like there's probably some other groups, but I feel as though it's probably almost a 50-50 split between people who play with the mechanics and like people who play with the role play of an RPG. Like I feel like that's almost an even split.
Gotta be.
Because it's like those are the two, and it's not that we, and I'm sure in the Venn diagram there's probably quite a bit of crossover there too. I mean, I definitely get into that sometimes. I get into it as long as it doesn't get in my way of enjoying it. Like if I spend too much time worrying about it, it starts to like stress me out, and then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing this for? Like now I'm not enjoying this anymore. The whole reason is so that I get lost in these games and not think about things that stress me out. So it just kind of depends on how it goes.
Yeah. It definitely,
because I love build crafting in like Elder Scrolls Online, but none of them are min max.
Right. Yeah.
Like none of them are like, oh, like this is what you have to do exactly. You need this gear from this dungeon, that staff, and you have to do that. And if you don't, you won't have the best version. Like I can't handle that. But I love the creativity in Elder Scrolls Online of like, dude, I'm going to make like a hybrid warrior mage character. I'm going to make a hybrid vampire, warrior or whatever. You can do whatever the hell you want in Elder Scrolls Online. It's fun to come up with those different like kinds of builds that you're going to make on your own.
Yeah, I feel like specifically, I maybe am a good happy medium between the two here, because I do feel like I know exactly what you're saying, Kyle, because I come from the MMO world where people will hold you accountable if you don't min-max your gear and make sure, like, if you do not have like the specific stats maxed out for your character, or you have specific raid gear or whatever, you're just not going to be able to participate in content. Like, people are just going to kick you out of it. So I have to kind of like break into the two schools of thought depending on the game I'm playing. Like multiplayer, which I'm sure is probably the same for League, right? Like you've got like a build for like a certain character that you're playing that's like the meta. And it's like, if you're not playing exactly how that character is supposed to be built out, like you're going to get flamed, or you're
intentionally feeding at that point. Yeah, I mean, you're intentionally running it down. I mean,
and Kyle's a League player, so there's that. There's your answer for that.
Which I've been picking up a little bit. I probably should have mentioned that, but I'm trying to get back into it. It's just so scary, man.
You guys are over here like working on the class mechanics and getting the stats right to make sure you don't let your team down. I'm over here like, my warrior was abused as a child. God.
He has bad charisma.
That's why he's quiet, okay? And that's why he has rage issues.
But see, I'm like that, though, when I'm playing single-player games, because there's nobody to hold me accountable except for me, you know?
Yeah. I do that somewhat as well. Like, I've mentioned it before with Fallout 4. I had major issues with, the DLC because because of that reason. It's like, this doesn't make sense for the character at all. So yeah, I mean, I definitely feel that, but I felt like, especially with Skyrim, it's like the nice thing about that game is, in everything, no matter what you build or do, it's going to be super strong by the end of the game. So it's just kind of fun to play around with it and see, how high you can go with it.
The last thought I have on this, just a really quick, and we won't get off on a tangent here because I want to get to what you've been playing, Taylor, but on the other end of the spectrum, right? So we're talking about these games that are very open-ended. Like you create what the character looks like. You create what, it doesn't give you like a backstory to choose from that's going to be brought up in the world, like nothing. You are a blank slate, fill it in like all the way through. There's that. And I do like those. I also like, for the same I guess it's almost for the opposite reason, but for the same logic, when a game gives me a role that is very specific, that allows me to not think about those things, and it's just as fun for me. It's just different. Like, I love
Geralt and The Witcher, right?
Geralt and The Witcher, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I know Geralt as a character. I've read the first couple of books, and I've you see the show now, of course, which went way off the deep end, but the first couple seasons were good. And you have this sort of, if you play the games, like you get this idea of what Geralt's like and what he is truly like, not the way people perceive him. And you can kind of play, and I'm not thinking about what I would do. I'm thinking about what I think Geralt would do. And that says a lot about the character, but that's just a totally different direction on role play that I also really, really enjoy. I like it when they just give you a character like that. So, or sort of in the middle with Mass Effect, where you get to create your character, but it has a very limited number of background stories that are relevant to you. And then you just role play kind of lean into what the developers gave you, the couple of choices. So there's lots of ways that can go. And that's a fun, well, maybe we can come back to that conversation, because there's a lot of different ways that can go. It's a lot of fun. So, Taylor, man, I know you said that you were pretty busy this week. You're in the middle of moving, or you're going to be moving pretty soon, so things are crazy. But when you did get a chance to just sit down, relax, pick up a controller, what'd you play, man?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, Ian, I'm in the middle of a move right now. So most days after like an 8-hour day, I'm just like, I come home and like I kind of just feel like watching something more than actually like playing something right now. So
totally get that.
And I'll keep it way briefer than last week because I went fucking nuts last week talking about stuff. But the only thing I played this week in between last episode and now is like maybe an hour of Silent Hill 2. So I'm just kind of making my progress through that. And it's been good. It still hasn't, and I've talked to a couple people about this, like it still hasn't hooked me just yet in terms of like I'm addicted and playing it for like 6 hours at a time or whatever. But it was funny actually. Me and my girlfriend were kind of like watching TV and like we were kind of watching stuff together. And then there was like a point in the night where we like finished what we were watching. And she was like, okay, well, like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I guess I could like make use of this time and like play some video games. So fired up the PS5, started Silent Hill 2, got through like a little bit of it. And then I like got to this puzzle in the game where like kind of like a classic survival horror puzzle where just like you have to like find these moths that are like in this room. It's like a room filled with moths. And there's a lock on a door that lines up to like how many stripes are on like a moth's wing. You have to like figure that out and calculate it. And I like had this moment where I was just sitting there and I was like, I don't want to do this right now. like it just thinking about this puzzle seemed like just the craziest task I could think of at that moment. And I got exhausted just thinking about doing it. So I was like, I can't do this today. So I shut off the console and that was the end of that. But it was literally the only thing I've done this week and probably will be a pretty light week, I would say, for the next week for me too. But that was pretty much everything I did. So we'll keep it brief.
Moving is taxing.
It is.
You know, it takes everything. Like it takes all of your organizational abilities. It takes all of your planning energy. You got to figure out the what, the when, the where, the who, the help, the truck, the just PTO potentially, just like all this. It's so stressful. Like, and yeah, there's only certain kinds of games that I can even play during a time like that. You know, it's like I'm definitely not playing Silent Hill 2.
Right.
Not to mention doing it in the center of hell.
Yeah, no kidding. Satan's asshole. Just
that too.
Riding away in my hot ass car, like. So I couldn't do it this week. I just simply couldn't be fucked. So,
dude, I've been there so many times. You know, where you're just, you know, for days. I feel like I want to play games, but I don't feel like playing anything specific.
Yes.
And then you pick up a game and you hit a spot and you're like, I don't want to do that. Actually, just kind of want to relax. It's hard to find that game in that moment where you're just like, I don't really want to be too involved, but I want to be playing something.
Right. Honestly, Balatro has been a fun thing to play when I don't feel like getting too involved in something and I just kind of want to sit there and like kind of passively play something. Balatro me and my girlfriend have been like addicted to that for like the last.
It's a hugely popular game. Yeah.
Oh, so fun. I love it.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I need to as well. I struggle with those. I just have so many things, like so many games that I want to play. Like sometimes I struggle to find one that's I guess the one like that for me is the Elder Scrolls Online because it's just sort of you just kind of run through it, and there's a lot of stuff that I've already seen, and you know it's just sort of peaceful music and easy, kind of brain dead combat. It's
such a
kind of my like easy game, like easy going game, comfort game, feels like home. But I have learned. For me personally, when I feel that way, Kyle, like when I'm very indecisive and it's like I feel like I kind of want to play a game, but I just can't decide on anything. Over time, I've just learned in that moment, I identify that now. I'm like, I'm not playing anything. Because anytime I start playing a game and I feel like that, I last 5 minutes in the game before I'm like, right. I turn it off and I throw on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've just like kind of given into that, like, I think I want to play a game because I have free time, and there's so many times in my life where I want the free time and because I want to play games.
Yeah, I think that's
get the free time, and it's like I have to do this because I don't ever get free time. But it's like if you're playing a game and you feel like you have to do it, you're not going to get the enjoyment out of it. It's not going to do for you what games do for you when they're good. So I've just learned it's like, nope, I'm just throwing on YouTube or whatever, take the dogs outside or like whatever the heck. I mean, what are we going to do? Like I just do something else. And then the next day you'll get some time and you're going to know what you're going to want to play. You're going to sit down, you'll do it. And you'll have a great time.
Especially now, right now I'm playing KCD2, of course. And I'm like, man, if I'm not fully committed to that game, I don't want to disrespect it. I'm going to make sure that I'm ready to play that game.
Sure. No, absolutely. Man. Yeah. That's, man, we could have a whole episode about not just backlogs, but like how we decide, how we choose to play, what we do and when. Like I have developed, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I have developed a grand strategy based on my own personal faults and understanding myself, knowing myself well enough of how these things are going to work and what goes on in my life during certain times of the year. Like I've figured this whole, I feel like I've finally kind of figured out how to get through. Yes.
I definitely want to pick your brain on that because I struggle with it.
Okay. We'll definitely do that at some point. Cause I feel like, we have kind of a list for topics. We'll figure out what that topic is. But we could go on probably for a while on that. We'll make it. We'll do a backlog episode at some point. I feel like people like backlog stuff, so maybe that's something we can we'll address at that time. Yeah. Cool. So I'll get into what I am playing. I quote unquote finished Assassin's Creed Shadows a couple days ago. I texted you guys a picture from my couch of the credits rolling.
It's awesome.
Felt great. Interestingly enough, with a lot of times with games like that, including other Assassin's Creed games, they definitely, these kind of big open worldy games that are, some of them have RPG elements, but I wouldn't call them role playing games like we would consider, Elder Scrolls or Dragon Age or whatever. I tend to get really, like, by the time I'm done with it, I'm like, I'm exhausted by them. You kind of been doing the same thing. I'm done with the game. I finished the story. I really like the story a lot, actually, more than I thought I would, especially from the beginning when it's pretty rote and like I was guessing what was going to happen for the first 25 hours of that game. And I was right about everything.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
And so I was not loving that, it was like I was sort of expecting it, but at the same time I kept waiting for it to do something for me, and it did actually finally do something for me. And I kind of realized, and I won't spoil anything for anyone who might be playing it, listening, or is going to play it, but Assassin's Creed Shadows, I was talking about last week, while it still has the big open world and some of the role-playing elements from the last few games, it does tend to have a feeling of like getting back to... Oops, I'm going to pull my cord right out of my mic if I keep talking with my hands right here. It does feel like getting back to what made the series fun in the first place, which was always kind of easy, casual stealth, which is what I would call it. Casual stealth.
Yeah.
Fun, casual stealth, and stylish Hollywood action melee combat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Almost more about cool finishers than like really complex gameplay.
Yeah.
And
it's a good way to describe it.
The gameplay loop, as far as combat goes, like the gameplay loop very much is all about that. You have two characters, both of which can be badass fighters, and then you have one that's really good at stealth, and it's easy, it's simple. It's what I was talking about last week. But it also, by the end of the story, really leans back into the original idea, which was like the secret war between the assassins and the Templars, and how that conflict crops up across the world. And it's interesting. It's like it crops up across the world in places before the Templars and Assassins are even, like the Templar, the secret war between these two is like a war about true freedom, not like American freedom, like your rights, listed on a bill or whatever. But like, I mean, freedom of like expression and freedom to choose the wrong thing, and and control, because the idea of like a parent who knows their kid's going to do something stupid and stops them from doing it because they know better, but then that kid doesn't learn the lesson. Like that's what, if you go play through all the Assassin's Creed games, like before they got way the fuck off track and were like just exploring insane mythological, like magical artifacts and stuff. There's a little bit of that in the original games, right? There's definitely part of the story, but they went so far just trying to get cool memeable content, it felt like at times. They kind of like lost track. But like the original 4 to 5 games is like about these two groups that both have really kind of the same intention, which is to like minimize suffering in humanity. And one is very means to an end. Like, we're going to hurt all these people so that all of these bad things don't happen later. And another group is like, you don't have the right to tell these people that you're going to hurt that their lives are only stepping stones for something you think is better. Even if it means that that bad thing is going to happen, that's what's going to happen. You don't have the control over that. That's not your right. That's the Assassins. And that's the whole like theme of the entire, every game in and game out. That's what it is. And it's cool because as you're murdering these Templars, you get a chance to find out what they were doing, and they were doing awful things. And then when they get to speak from their perspective, you're like, ooh, interesting. Like, they're not just cackling bad guys who are trying to get more money and power, or they are, but you learn so much. And they just really finally lean back into sort of the simplicity of the conflict of Assassins and Templars, which is something I always really liked in the Ezio part of the series.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So while it takes way too long to get there, and obviously the game is so big that you could even play it for probably twice as long as I did. So it still needs more focus. It's still too big, too wide open, takes too long, too much busy work. At its core, it's like, it feels like we're kind of getting back to Assassin's Creed a little bit more. We went off the trail a little bit, and I even liked some of those games that went off the trail, but Valhalla went so far off the trail. It's just not. That's not an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, I hardly recognize it as an Assassin's Creed game. Oh well, hello.
She just hopped up on my desk here.
Cats are cool. Okay. Anyway, what were you saying, Kyle?
Oh no, I was just totally agreeing with you. I played like all of maybe 30 minutes of Valhalla, and I was like, "What is this game? What are we doing here?" And
30 minutes, to be fair, 30 minutes in any of the last like 5 Assassin's Creed games wouldn't get you to where you're like feeling like you're recognizing it as an Assassin's Creed game. But
yeah, from what
your
I understand,
instincts
that's
were
like
right.
1/1000th of the game.
Because 30 hours in Valhalla doesn't get you to the point where you're like, when is this going to become an Assassin's Creed game?
Yeah.
50 hours doesn't get you there. It's not an Assassin's Creed game. It's a decent, like mid third person Viking game, and it's fine. It's good. It's okay. Yeah. It's got some interesting stuff.
I wonder.
It's too much.
I wonder if things got off. I wonder why things got off the rails a little bit with that. I mean, you think maybe the timing? I don't know if the timing lines up, but do you think Witcher 3 kind of changed everything for a lot of these RPGs, feeling like they kind of had to piggyback off of it? I feel like it's kind of similar to, like when PUBG first came out, and then all of a sudden everybody's making the battle royales.
Royale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it was so huge, and obviously then Fortnite just perfected it. But I kind of get the sense of with those games specifically is, for some reason they lost sight of who they were and were wanting to do something else and not copy, but just kind of go a little bit more mainstream with what they thought everybody wanted. And I think that's where they kind of lost the picture of it all, and that's why we're all sitting here going, this is not an Assassin's Creed game. I don't want to play this,
Yeah, well, that is what happened. It's interesting, and I won't go. I could go on a tangent about what happened here, but I won't. I'll control myself. It's Ubisoft's fault. So because God, I'll tell you what, man, all the different they have right now. They have two development teams that take turns, kind of like Activision did with Call of Duty, where they had like multiple studios they could rotate because they had to go yearly. There's some incredible talent making those Assassin's Creed games, even though they're kind of simple and they're not cream of the crop necessarily. They're always beautiful. They look good and they're fun to play. And that's something that's fun to play over that many hours is not easy to do. But what happened is the same story as always. Ubisoft found a hit and said, we have to make 9,000 of these now, like, as opposed to just letting it do its own thing and letting the developers continue to make that. They had to no, we need Assassin's Creed yearly. So they made Assassin's Creed 2, which was a mega hit. And then they had Brotherhood, which just happened to be good because it's the same people making it. And back in the days of 360, everyone didn't assume that all of the assets had to be brand new and none of the animations could be reused. So you could make a decent game off of the same stuff in 2 years. I really miss that.
Yeah.
Because now it takes 8 years and $9 billion to make every game.
Mm-hmm.
So they made Brotherhood, they made Revelations, and then they just kept going. It just kept happening. They kept 3, and then 4, and then Rogue, and then Unity, and then Unity was the problem. Unity also probably my second or third favorite Assassin's Creed. Unity was phenomenal, but it came out and it was like Cyberpunk. It was broken. It was completely broken. And it got memed. It was all of the horrible faces, like the guy's face was gone and he had his facial hair and his eyes were floating and his teeth. And you're like, it's nuts and it's horrible in the game. That. Yeah. The performance was horrible and it was just, it was just so bad. They took a year off. They released Syndicate. And at that point they had just made too many games that were the same. For people just stopped. We're like, ugh, it's just they've made 10 of these fucking things and too much of a good thing. So they disappeared. And when they came back, they made the same mistake again. They made Assassin's Creed Origins, which was very much a Witcher 3 inspired game, but it felt good. Mm-hmm. Witcher 3 was awesome. And I was so glad to have more of it in ancient, Roman era Egypt. The main character for Assassin's Creed Origins, they finally remembered, our protagonists are a real big, people loved Ezio. Mm-hmm. And they kind of got back to, we need to make another, really memorable protagonist. And Bayek in Origins is phenomenal. The voice actor who did that was amazing. It was really good. It was different. It was a total refresh. It felt cool. It was I like this idea of kind of taking Assassin's Creed and Witcher and just smashing them together. And then, of course, it was a big hit because it was good and it was different. And Ubisoft was like, more! And so then they made Odyssey and Valhalla and all these games that take 100+ hours to beat. And it's just oh my God, too much of a good thing.
Yeah, that's another thing is stop throwing in junk just to add content.
Yeah. And they have you can buy experience and stuff, with real money, man. So that you don't have to grind. It's fucking awful.
That was the thing that I was going to say about it too, is that I think that Assassin's Creed also kind of found itself at a time in the industry, I think, where multiplayer games were kind of on the rise. And so having a lot of monthly active users was kind of a big data point for a lot of those companies at that time. And so if you couldn't have a bunch of people playing your game at one time and it wasn't a multiplayer game, you had to make the game artificially longer so that way you had more people playing it for longer. And then you also saw a lot of the stuff that you were mentioning, Ian, where it was you have microtransactions and single player games where you can buy some fucking thing for your character, like a new skin, or experience boosters, or I think of even just Shadows of War and stuff.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of at a fundamental time where corporations in particular were let's see if we can keep single player gamers engaged for 80 to 100 hours and see if maybe at some point during that we can sell them something more than just the base game. So I think that also kind of plays into
right. Okay, that makes sense, right?
Assassin's Creed's
the
like
longer
games
you
as
keep
service.
them in, the more likely they are to eventually pay for something. That makes absolute sense.
Yeah, I mean, you just think about all the games as a service, right? That's like 20. So I think Assassin's Creed Origins came out in like 2017. I mean, the original Destiny came out in 2014, and then Destiny 2 came out the same year, I think 2017. I might be wrong about that, but right in that whole like 5 to 6 year gap of like 2014 to 2020, right? All these games that were coming out, they were like, look, when you buy our game, you'll be playing it with new content for the next 10 years. Like, and they're mostly single player games. Obviously, with Destiny, you kind of had the multiplayer, but it's like that kind of a thing where it's like, if you just stick with this game and it'll give you everything you need, you don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And what sucks is that there's really good games. Those Assassin's Creed games are very fun. And like they're at their core, you can tell people were making good games. It's just that they also had to just tack on all of this heft and weight of all these requirements. That, that made them not as good as they would have been if they were just made the way they probably should have been. So anyway, so that's our big Assassin's Creed tangent. Really like Shadows to the point where there's still a bunch of like meaningful content left. It's all these different groups to assassinate, and they all have like story cutscenes, and they're pretty good. So it's like I still actually might kind of keep playing it a little bit off and on throughout the year, and just kind of that completionist, that notch all the stuff cross everything off your list and get better gear, and it's kind of a hook. And it's fun to play. So I'll probably keep going to that. I'll knock these other two out real fast. Last week I mentioned when we got the write-in, and they mentioned playing through the Master Chief Collection. So I am on Halo 5, playing through the Halo 5 campaign. Interesting to go back. I've only played it the one time. 343 gets shit for kind of ruining the franchise because the story sucked, and the story really sucks. The story's terrible. But they're talented. Those are good games. Halo 4 is better than anyone remembers, in my opinion. And Halo 5 is really, it's a really good shooter. It's not Halo. It's Halo-ish. It's Halo adjacent, and it's fantastic.
It's a shooter with a Halo skin.
Yeah, it's a little closer than that. It's a little close. Yeah. You're right. The skin, the sounds, but it does have that. I don't remember who this was at Bungie. I remember seeing a making of for like Halo 1, I think, many years ago on YouTube, and it was one of the developers. I can't remember who it was. One of the main guys at Bungie, and he was talking about like the 30 seconds of fun, which is like the moment you take control of the character, walk into a room, assess enemies, because the enemy design in Halo is so fucking good with the grunts and the elites and the jackals, and like your brain naturally is like, okay, I kind of figure out what I can pick these guys off, and I can shoot this guy here, and I got to take care of him. And your brain it's fun. It's like a puzzle, but you're shooting and hitting everything and throwing grenades. And that 30 seconds of fun, he's like, if you can just recreate that, you can just make a whole game out of it. And he's totally right about that. And that 30 seconds of fun is still in, like, they didn't lose that. It's still really fun. It's not quite right. It's a little too fast. It's like a little too fluid. The new enemies that the what are they called? They're like the Forerunners, but there's another name for them.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
That's
about.
That's funny. This is what I'm talking about. We're playing through this game. I don't even know the fucking name. I don't even, it's like the robotic guys. They suck. They're not fun to shoot. They don't blast into pieces. They're just sort of, they just don't react to getting hit. They're just not, they're awful. It starts with a P. God damn it. Someone who's listening knows. I'll look it up in a second. They're the Forerunners. And the idea, right? There's like ideas in these 343 games that are cool. Like the idea in Halo 4 of Cortana experiencing rampancy because she knows so much that if the Covenant were to ever capture her, and figure out how to break her apart and get her information, they'd have everything that the humans ever had. And it's a big risk. So they have shortened lifespans, so that by the time that she could be decoded, she would come apart at the seams and die. And like the idea, like all of these interesting ideas they had, and they just can't follow through on any of it. Yeah. Or like Master Chief going after Cortana against the rules, and he's supposed to be coming back, and you're playing as these two characters, and you're trying to figure out what Master Chief is doing, and all. I mean, there's some good ideas in it, but the writing's not good, the dialogue's not good, the narrative doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm not half the time. I'm like, wait, what are we even doing here? Like they're just talking about a constructor. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is. It's just not good. It's not good at all, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Like I would actually recommend someday play through Halo 4 and 5 because they're very, very good shooters. They're more than competent. They're kind of excellent. Mm-hmm. They're just not great Halo games, and the story is kind of a disaster.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing there. Because I've never finished Halo Infinite. I've only played like a little bit of Halo Infinite. So my goal was like, I'm going to go play through all the Halo games all the way up to Halo Infinite and play through that. So that's kind of my next thing. So, and then I started Spider-Man 2 with Alicia. This is my last game, and I won't go over it. We're only an hour in, but I love it so far. Just exactly what I want from like a Marvel game, like just endless witty quips, which normally drive me nuts, but that's what Peter Parker is. Like,
yeah, that's Spider-Man.
That's what Spider-Man has always been. So that's what I want from him. I don't like it when it's injected into every other thing. But Spider-Man, that's his sense of humor. That's who Peter Parker is. It's true to the character in the DNA. It's funny. It's light. It's fun, easy to play. Kind of like Assassin's Creed, you know, it's just, you just get into it and you play it, and it's just really good. So it's pretty. So we just barely started that. So playing that, and that's what I've been playing. So you guys, we did what we're playing in half the time we did last week.
Ooh, progress, baby. This is what I like to see. Progress.
I don't know. It was looking rough for a moment there.
I know. I had it. But it's like it's one of those things where it's like I'm watching the time, and I want to make sure that we're keeping a good pace. But at the same time, I think of a good question, or I hear you guys say something cool. It's like I don't want to kill a good conversation just because.
Agreed.
Shut up. We got to move on. So I felt like that was pretty good. That was fun.
Agreed.
Hopefully everyone listening enjoyed listening to all of that. I'm going to start us off with a write-in, and then we were talking a little bit before. Might be good to just do like a general summary of what it is we're talking about, and then I'll just come to you guys and get your opinions on these things. So we're going to talk about industry stuff here for the next, 30, 40 minutes, something like that. And there's a lot of stuff that's happened since we stopped. And I've got a whole list of them. We'll see which ones. I know which ones I definitely want to do. And then if I don't touch on any of the ones you guys see on the list, or if you had one specifically, just chime in and we'll talk about it. Let's start with the big gorilla in the room. And just the state of Xbox as a company, as a brand, as a publisher, as a suite of developers, and just everything that's been going off with them. So mtruck78, our friend Matt, wrote in, and here's his write-in. So I'm just going to get through it, and then we'll kind of address it, and we'll get into the Xbox stuff, and I'll pick it up from there. But Matt says, Blizzard finally being out from under Activision's thumb to join the Microsoft family of studios, only for them to get hit by the layoffs, seeing a whole team get axed alongside their project, the survival game they were working on, in a standalone IP. A lot of fans, myself included, were excited to see what news stories Blizzard were going to make. Epic also had a huge hiring surge in the months prior to their layoff wave. I can imagine the lack of stability in the game development world really puts a handicap on being creative and taking chances, something that helps the medium flourish and evolve. And what he's talking about here with the layoffs at Activision, that actually happened, I think it was like 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. They had massive layoffs, including, at the teams that were making Call of Duty and all of this stuff. And then of course there was a whole nother round of horrible layoffs at Xbox. And we also saw PlayStation shut down some studios as well over the last year. All of this for me, all of this starts with COVID. I don't know if you guys remember the whole like housing bubble, like when we were in early high school.
2008. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the idea, the fundamentally flawed idea that caused that crash was that, oh, hey, this market is going up and we don't ever see it coming down again, ever. And we're going to act and make all of our decisions with this money as if this market will never, even though it's built on very weak structure, it's just never going to, nothing ever wrong will ever happen. It's just going to be great forever. So we're just going to throw money around as if that's the case. And of course, it came down really bad because you put that much weight onto something like that. Doesn't have the infrastructure to withhold it. You can't give someone a home loan for $600,000 that makes $35,000 a year. You can't do it. Where does that money go? That's never getting paid back. What the fuck are you doing? Right? So COVID happens and everyone's at home and everyone starts playing video games. Everyone. Like your grandma started playing video games on her phone, and people who are our age that like dabble, right? The Call of Duty guys that I was kind of making fun of earlier, they had time and money. They started playing new things. They're like, shit, I mean, all these games are on sale. I got all this time. I'm going to play all these big games that people talk about, I've heard. And everyone started playing video games and the market exploded and they started hiring. They're like, whoa, this is a whole new world. All these people are going to be playing this many video games forever. We gotta hire enough people to make enough video games to satiate this need for all time. And then everyone goes back to work and stops playing and buying video games at the same rate. And now it's time to lay everyone off. Sorry, I was making sure I didn't change my mic setting for a second. So like that's kind of the start of it, right? And so you have way too many people working, way too many people hired. The demand does not require this amount of people. And all of these companies are public, they're either publicly owned like shareholders, and they have to show growth. There's like, you can't just make a lot of money. That's not how it goes. You have to grow. You have to show growth in everything all the time. And if you're not, you have to just blow it up. And we just keep seeing it. We just keep seeing it happen throughout the industry. But Xbox has been probably the worst by far. And that's like a combination of what I was just explaining with COVID and sort of the overhiring and the oversaturation of the market. But it's that coupled with the fact that Microsoft and Xbox don't know what the hell they're doing at all. They do not know how to develop video games. They don't know how to produce. They don't know how to be executives. Phil Spencer, awesome dude. I think he truly loves games. I really, really, really think he does. I think he saved the Xbox brand from all of the Xbox One stuff. He got the job and Xbox became better than it really ever was. I mean, I know it never recovered to the point of the 360 with popularity. But like when the One X came out and then when like the Series X got announced, like that Xbox was incredible at that point. Game Pass was out. It was dirt cheap. And it's very clear that he thought, their whole regimen was like, okay, consumer first. We have to stop making all of these shitty games that no one cares about. And we have to stop bleeding everyone for every penny. We have to show the people goodwill. So they did all the backwards compatibility stuff with the 360 and Xbox games. They're like Xbox is so much further ahead than all the other studios at doing this. By 100,000 miles. They're so much further ahead. And it's by far the most consumer friendly business, I think, in gaming, pretty much, at this point. But that's not going to last because the problem with Phil Spencer is that while he's good at that, he's not good at saying no. He trusts every creative he talks to, clearly. And from what all the reports are, they don't check in on anything. Nothing. They don't know what's going on. Redfall. Do you guys remember Redfall?
Oh,
yeah, I do.
I try not to.
They thought that was going to be a good game.
Which tells me he didn't play it.
He didn't know. He didn't know shit. He didn't know shit about that game. And they were like, man, we didn't know things were this bad. Like, you didn't know things were this bad. Like, it's just, it's insane. Like, it's absolutely insane. They can't run this business. They just buy. They buy and buy and buy because they have infinite money. They're Microsoft. They've never been able to create talent. Only a few times have they ever created a studio that went on to actually do something. And I think it was like, Turn 10 made Forza, which they just annihilated Turn 10. They just got rid of the whole studio, just got destroyed. There's like, I don't know, probably less than 100 people there that are just making the last Forza game run on the servers. And that's it. They're all gone. And the initiative, which they started like 10 plus years ago to make Perfect Dark, had all these amazing talent. It's not like these people are hacks. It had incredible talent. And the team at Crystal Dynamics, who made the most recent Tomb Raider games, which were excellent, jumped in to help them because they're having all these problems, but nothing ever came of it. They even dropped the trailer for it. And now they just shuttered the entire studio. Can you imagine Sony like having a studio that was like full of talent like Naughty Dog, and Naughty Dog sat around for 10 years and then they're like, yeah, just close it.
Inconceivable, really.
Sony would never do that. Like, because Sony and Sony's made plenty of mistakes, but they have people that will go into a developer and be like, this game is too long. This game is not fun. This mechanic sucks. This character isn't any good. And the one time, or one of the few times that Sony didn't understand that was when they keep trying to make these online games, and they made this Concord game, which everyone saw the trailer for, was like, this looks like fucking shit. And Sony bought the team. They're trying to like be Microsoft. They bought the team, released the game. It was so bad, they shuttered the game, closed the servers, and destroyed the studio.
Within a week, too.
Within a week.
Releasing.
The game was out for a week. So I don't want to pick on Xbox, just like as if they're the only ones with the problem, but they're by far the worst offenders of this. Their own hubris and their own inability to manage this massive earth-crushing machine that they have purchased and put together with spare parts, and don't have the leadership to run. They have 40 studios? How do you run 40 studios with 3 people in your executive wing? I really like Phil Spencer. I really think the culture of the culture that Xbox is clearly envisioning is a goal to strive for, but they can't do it. There's 3. Sarah Bond, right? Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty and Phil Spencer. That's your executive wing at Xbox, and they've done nothing but just fail miserably for like 10 years in a row. And all of these people are losing their jobs left and right. And Phil Spencer's dropping this, letter to everyone saying, we're in the strongest position we've ever been, as you're firing thousands of people. It's like up to like 10,000 people laid off from their jobs.
It's 20,000 since 2023, actually.
Well, yeah, 20,000. Thank you, 20,000 since 2023. I just meant this last round was. I think
for sure, but I mean, you have to add that portion because it's quite a bit.
20,000 people.
Yeah.
I just, obviously it sucks. It's so hard because obviously for me and for all of us, we grew up right at the right time for Xbox to kind of be our thing. I mean, obviously I play a lot of PlayStation games, and I was a Nintendo kid earlier, but like Xbox was like the right thing at the right time for me. And I love that brand. I mean, I've got the damn chair. Like, I love Xbox
headset now.
And I still like, there's something intrinsic in the branding, and it's not just nostalgia. It's somewhat nostalgia, but it's like, I like what they're doing. I really like Game Pass. You know, there's a whole argument out with Game Pass is sustainable or not. And if you want to vote for your wallet and say, man, Microsoft's evil, and which they are, Microsoft's evil, and I'm not going to give them my money, like, go ahead. But the problem is these people are winning no matter what. So it's like, everybody unsubscribes from Game Pass. Well, who suffers? The people making games for Game Pass. Because clearly Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty have nothing to fear. They're not getting fired for anything. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not going to unsubscribe from Game Pass and stop playing all these great games that are on the service just to make a point. And then have people who are making games get in trouble for not having enough play hours on their service. There's no winning.
Especially,
I've given up.
You got to consider how much support it provides for all the like smaller indie games. I mean, there's just so many games in there that, you know, I've never even thought of touching, but you know that some people are playing it just because it's on Game Pass. So I think that in itself is like not something that I would like to see taken away, especially for that reason, is because it's really holding together all of these smaller indie games that probably, if I had to guess, would not have as much success without Game Pass.
Yeah, there's like 2,000 games a day released onto Steam.
Yeah.
How do you, you know, and there's problems with Game Pass. I think they made a mistake out of desperation to put their day one releases, you know, and it's the reason they had to release stuff onto Sony, onto PlayStation. You know, Gears of War is coming out on the PlayStation next month, you guys.
That's crazy.
I mean, it does blow my mind. I'm like, there's some really, really good games that are dropping out for free. It's like, what are we doing?
It's
not free.
crazy.
I mean, you're paying this.
Yeah, you're paying. Yeah. But does that really, I mean, I think there's like 25 million Game Pass subscribers. At least that's the last number we had.
Yeah.
And, you know, $20 a month at 25 million. That's not even to sneeze at, but.
Yeah.
Here's my question though, too. Cause also like the price of Game Pass is rapidly rising too.
Oh,
like, I think,
of course.
I think it's at a clip of like every 6 months or so. I think we get a price increase of like the main thing. So for me anyway, I'm subscribed to Game Pass, but there definitely is going to be a point where the price gets raised so high that it's just not worth it anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely should be high. Like it could be higher, right? The amount of value I'm getting out of it is requisite to how much I'm paying per month. But we'll definitely get to a point where it's not going to be worth it for me, especially with the environment of Xbox being as it is. So
yeah.
And at that point, the market will reset itself, to be honest. I mean, it's just kind of how, that's just kind of how
especially if you're not going to make physical games. Like
when you own the market though, and obviously they don't own the whole market, but
no.
Xbox is the biggest games publisher in the world.
Yeah.
But not even close.
Bar none.
Not even close. 40 studios? I mean, you can shut down 10 of them and still be the biggest. I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
So talk to me about... let's start with you, Taylor. Talk to me about how this affects you as a consumer, both as someone who loves Xbox and grew up with Xbox, like we all did, but also this kind of like the idea of voting with your wallet and paying for things and buying games and Game Pass, all these kinds of things. Like, how do you feel as someone who's an informed, probably more informed than like 99% of people playing games on Xbox or any platform? What is this going to prevent you from getting the next Xbox or from keeping your current? You may have already sold your Xbox or whatever, Game Pass. Like, just how has this affected your view of the company, both negatively and positively in some ways? Because I know they've done some good stuff. So I just want to hear your take on what's going on with Xbox and like where you stand with them right now based on all of this.
Sure. Yeah. Well, backing up to even one of the last episodes we did on the Solo Gamer podcast here was right around the time that Bethesda got purchased. Like, I think that might have been one of the last episodes that we did together, Ian, before we kind of went on a hiatus where we were kind of at a peak. Like, we were thinking like this was a great return to form. Like, sure, Xbox was purchasing a studio that had some history with PlayStation and stuff, but like it made sense at the time for that purchase to happen. Morrowind was an Xbox exclusive. Oblivion, I think, was also an Xbox exclusive.
It didn't come to PS3 until I don't know, a year or two after it hit Xbox.
Yeah, so we were kind of riding the high, and I remember even thinking at the time when the Activision Blizzard purchase was made as well, that was like a huge win. Like I was like, Xbox needs IP. They need games to come out. Who better to purchase than the team that is the master of putting out games and, questionable quality. Like I'm not going to sit here and act like Activision Blizzard games are the best things ever, but like every once in a while they would get a hit. And so I was kind of looking at the Activision Blizzard purchase at the time as a really good way to strengthen competition in the market. Like I was thinking, okay, you get Call of Duty exclusive. Like that's a great selling point. Like I know that would sell systems if it really came down to it. Like there's been a thing for a while of like Xbox not having these games, and suddenly like, yeah, you get the PR hit from making what was at once maybe like a multi-plat sort of situation into an exclusive one. You do take the hit on that side of things. But I thought that at this point in time, with Xbox backed into a corner, this was the only way that they could really compete in a marketplace where PlayStation just has the best IPs, the most recognizable ones. They're putting out games at an amazing clip. And so it seemed like just a perfect solution at the time. And it's crazy the 180 I've had on that opinion, because that almost kind of seems like to me where
that
the ship started sinking.
Activision ruined it all.
Yeah, and it's just so sad to see. And it's one of those things where I could go on forever about Xbox. I am not a fan of Xbox as it currently stands. Mostly just because I think I will agree that their moves right now are consumer friendly, but they're not going to stay that way. I mean, we've already talked about the price of Game Pass rising. We're not going to own any of their games technically. And we haven't really like owned quote unquote games for a while to a certain extent. But even more so, like Xbox is blazing the trail on you just not owning anything and just having whatever you have video game wise is just in the ether, and you're paying, $80 now to basically like rent a license that could or could not go away. And so for me, I was an early adopter of the Xbox Series X. I was really big into this hardware. I was thinking that they were going to support this thing and put out exclusives and make there be a reason for me to want to stay on the platform. And it was pretty evident early on, once the Activision Blizzard purchase had gone through, that they had no desire to do that. And once you had eliminated the reason for me to own the hardware, you had gotten rid of your physical games, which, like, as a collector, I know I kind of bring like a old man yelling at clouds perspective to that, because I am a game collector and I like having a physical product in hand. But the removal of all those things plus these layoffs were kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for me. It's quite obviously not the same entity anymore. It's not even really Xbox to me anymore. And I think multiple people have said this now. It is kind of like a Microsoft gaming kind of moment. Like, it doesn't feel like Xbox to me. It doesn't have the same like ring to it that it used to. And I think we're losing out as gamers. Like, I think the short-term games, the short-term gains right now are good because we're getting these day one games that are pretty good in quality for relatively cheap, but it won't always stay that way. And not only that, but you're just missing out on having a reason to be in this ecosystem. And I don't feel like that there's much of a reason anymore to be invested into Xbox. I absolutely will not buy any more hardware from them. I know we're planning on talking about maybe Xbox ROG Ally stuff.
Yeah, well, we could roll that into this conversation.
Yeah, one, too expensive, and two, like, what's the point? Like, you could just get a Steam Deck and have it be the same exact quality for cheaper, right? So it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think they gave up much, much too early for the sake of making back the money they spent to buy Activision. And it's not the same brand to me anymore, unfortunately. So, like I said, I have a lot of thoughts about it, and I'm kind of scatterbrained and kind of thinking of 900 different things at once. But
no, I think you did a great job.
I sold my Xbox. Like, I don't plan to buy any more hardware from them, and yeah.
That's unfortunate. Do you think that if they had like stuck to their guns and tried to compete with exclusive games, that they would have been able to do that long term against PlayStation as well?
Yeah, I think they could have. I know hindsight being 2020, like we've talked about before, like obviously there's Redfall situations that happen. You know, you weren't going to make back the return on investment on a bad game like that either way. But I think games like Indiana Jones could have been really successful as a system selling console exclusive. I think some other ones down the road could have done it as well. I think if you really would have had a hit with Halo, and Halo's still exclusive for the time being, but I think that you could still make a really good Halo game and have it, people attracted to the console. I just think they gave up too early. And I think that the exclusive strategy, I think, could have legitimately worked if they would have just stuck it out. But there's too much profit incentive. Activision. Yeah, there's just too much profit incentive now. They have to catch up to the $75 billion or whatever it is.
Yeah, they caught the eye of Sauron on that. It's like you can't spend $70 billion. Xbox was kind of like a backwater for Microsoft. They're like, oh, cool, yeah, like it generates a few billion, some billion number a year, and there's 40 million people or whatever that own Xbox Series consoles, and they're paying for Game Pass and they're buying games, and it's fine. And then you spend $70 billion, and it's like, oh, okay. It's all of a sudden everyone is coming to you. It's like, oh, how are you going to make that money back? How quickly are you going to make that money back? And it just changes the nature of everything. And they're not going to take the risks that they were taking before. They're going to play it safe now. I guess I'll say,
I think their goal is just entirely different from
100%.
From PlayStation. I think that they're playing two different sports right now. And so it's hard for me to really compare it to PlayStation, because the reason why I asked that question, Taylor, is solely based upon the fact that I don't think long-term Xbox could have competed like with just trying to come out with outstanding exclusives, because I think PlayStation has really honed in and learned how to nail that out of the park. And I think that one thing that we know about PlayStation is they don't have the same issue as Xbox, in the fact that their leadership clearly has a better understanding of what's going on with the development of the games that they have that are exclusive, because they come out top notch, pristine, in some of the best games you've ever played
of all time.
I don't know if I could say the same about Xbox, especially with the falling off of Gears of War and Halo. It's like, what do they have left? So in some ways, I feel like they had to like find a different way to exist in this gaming industry.
I agree with that. Both of you make pretty good points. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that there was definitely a change in strategy that needed to happen, but not at the sake of losing your identity.
Yeah.
And I feel like right now, with the spot that PlayStation is in and the blunders that they've made over the last couple years, they are totally benefiting from an environment where Xbox is not competing with them. And I think if you would have just had 2 to 3 really solid exclusives come out, I think you could have absolutely seen a rise in hardware. Probably not to the same degree as PlayStation. Like, I don't think you'll ever make up the gulf in money that a PlayStation 5 is making over an Xbox Series X. But I think you grow that base, and then potentially for whatever the next generation would have been, I think you could have started off really, really strong. I think you could have started off competing really, really well. Yeah. And I think the whole thing that bothers me about this conversation, like not in this particular conversation, but just the gaming landscape as a whole,
right.
is that I feel like people are just totally okay with the fact that like PlayStation is running the show now between like in this industry, and nobody thinks that there's going to be like deleterious effects from any of it happening. And I'm not saying that's what you guys are saying, or
No.
like you in particular, Kyle, but I just feel like that's what's missing from this conversation in general. Sure, Xbox is going to be playing a different game, but the game that we like, that PlayStation is currently playing, will suffer because of this. And I don't think that there's any question of that.
Yeah, the competition was definitely important.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to worry. Nintendo can just do what they want. They don't even factor into the conversation almost. They're going to sell more Switch 2s than any other console ever, I think, based on what it's already started. You know, they've never let up on what their specialty is, and they've never given up their identity and never had to make those kinds of changes. Even when they make mistakes, and they made the Wii U and all that, they had problems, but they just moved on to the next thing, and they always have that invincible IP that everyone will flock to, and they just do right by it. You know, I think it's tough to sum all of it up into like, oh, like this is where Xbox went wrong. You know, there's so many places where Xbox went wrong and right, you know, and it just didn't matter. It's like, as soon as Xbox lost to PlayStation 4 because of all the Xbox One drama with the TV, and the horrible start and the DRM and all that stuff, you lose that generation. That was the first, like, more than 50% of the games purchased on those consoles ended up being digital purchases, right? And this is something I wanted to bring up during your conversation, Taylor, about giving up on Xbox, which I don't blame you for at all. But it's the reason that they could never catch up after that is because people are now intrinsically invested, both monetarily and with their time and everything, with the achievements and trophies and all these games that you've bought. You have thousands of dollars wrapped up into PlayStation 4. You're not going to buy an Xbox and start all over.
Yeah.
And that's the first death knell, kind of, for like for Xbox as we knew them in the 360 days, right? It's like, you can't lose that. You can't lose that fight right there. You don't have to win it necessarily, but you had to sell, kind of like the 360 and PS3 sold a comparable number of systems by the end of their generation. And that didn't happen. Xbox One did not sell comparable to PlayStation 4 because of those mistakes in the beginning. And it changed the landscape forever. And in some ways it changed it for the better. Xbox had to find other ways to win customers back, or to keep customers there. They kept me there because of a lot of the services they came out with, and they've always had the best online services, and they've always had the best. I've always liked the layout, you know, so like sort of the interface of Xbox. I've always loved the controllers that are more ergonomic, like all these little things, right? But it's like, so for me, you know, when you're talking about leaving Xbox, I don't blame you at all. But for me, it's this difficult thing of like, I understand why I have reasons to be like, fuck this, I'm done. But they have me. I have so much money in Xbox. If I left Xbox, I would be leaving over hundreds of games that I've purchased with my own money, not just the Game Pass, but like, and all of my physical games that I own, all of my original Xbox and my 360 and all that stuff that still works, because they're the only company that's bothered to allow me to just stick a disc in of some old console and my brand new Series X and have it work. Excuse me. And so I am like strapped to this fucking rocket that they fired off the planet. I'm not going anywhere. And like, you know, like why would I potentially buy the Xbox ROG Ally at a really high price? Like, because I have my entire library there, and I know it's a PC and I won't be able to play all the Xbox games that I have on there, but a lot of those games are going to be available on both. That's their new push, right? It's like play Xbox Xbox everywhere. Like, this game is Xbox everywhere title. And their vision, I love their vision of, you know, take this massive library that you've built over years as a loyal customer and spent thousands of dollars on and play it wherever you want, whenever you want, right? It's not quite there yet, right? The ROG Ally is sort of like a Band-Aid because it's not an Xbox. And I'm not going to be able to play all of my Xbox games on it. But that said, anything I do buy on it will be most likely compatible on my Xbox. It's in the other direction.
Right.
And the cloud streaming is still in beta, and it's gotten better and better every single year. And just think about it, what it'll be like in 10 years. And so these services are great, and I still buy games. I know it's crazy. Like an Xbox player who buys games is an idiot because you have Game Pass. But I just it's kind of like what you were saying, Taylor, about holding on to I want the physical copy of it. I mean, unfortunately, the physical copies, even on PlayStation and Switch, like Switch has some games that are on the cartridge, but most games in the cartridges and most games on PS5 discs are just digital downloads. So your games are just coasters anyways, most of them. Not all of them.
Yeah, but even more so, I would argue on the on the Xbox side.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's just one of those things. It's kind of like Assassin's Creed Shadows is the first digital copy of an Assassin's Creed game that I've ever bought. Because there's nothing on the disc. Maybe I'll buy it like at an incredibly dirt cheap price off of eBay in a few years, just to have the piece of plastic that says that on my shelf. I'm not going to pay $80 for a disc.
No,
I'm going to buy it digitally so I can play it wherever I want to. But I'm just sort of like a prisoner of the moment. And I'm sticking with it. And I still do like it. I like Xbox. I like all of my friends, and I like all my achievements, and I like the interface still, and I still enjoy playing games there. It's my favorite place to play video games. And it just sucks. It sucks to just feel like it's kind of cursed, But Kyle, how are you feeling about Xbox right now? I know you still have an Xbox. You're playing on it. Are you feeling more like I am? Are you excited about what they're doing, despite the fact that they're seeming to take every wrong step on their way there? Like, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the drawback. I agree with you that I love the vision, because ideally, in the future, I would love this idea of, I'm at a friend's house, or I'm on the road, and I'm like in the passenger seat, and like no matter where I am, I can hop right in to the exact game that I was playing earlier, and just continue on my playthrough. I love that idea of just easily accessing everything. Mm-hmm. But you look at the recent layoffs and the response to everything, clearly their ability to execute on their ideas is not very great. And so I'm concerned about if they even actually pull off this idea at this point, because it doesn't seem like they're really in tune with what's really going on in their company. I think it's clearly evident at this point. But I do think that the idea of shifting towards a more like consumer friendly, like access us anywhere, play us anywhere idea, I can't help but feel like it's genius in theory. I just hope that they really can actually execute it, because I don't think I don't feel, maybe I'm kind of abnormal in this way, I don't feel necessarily tied to having a console, an Xbox console. I love the idea of being able to, as long as I can put it on my screen, I don't care if I have a console. I mean, you can put an Amazon Fire Stick apparently into your TV and stream your gaming the entire time. I use the streaming quite often, actually. While I'm working, I can pull up my iPad and utilize it that way. So I really love the idea and that push for being able to access everything everywhere. But of course, I don't really like seeing that they invested $80 billion into AI infrastructure and then proceed to lay off 20,000 employees over the last 2 years. And then the explanation of why they were doing it. And then, of course, obviously we all follow Matty, and he's been, really in depth about all of that process. And there were instances of some of the leadership actually playing the games and expressing that they love the games.
Yeah, ZeniMax Online Studios. It was their big game. Phil Spencer exclaimed that he just loved it. It was one of the best games that he's played in a long time. He was obsessed with the game, and it still got canceled because Phil doesn't have any say in this anymore.
Well, and apparently he liked Redfall. So I mean, that's the thing is like all of these ideas of what they're doing, in theory, cool, but now I don't trust. Full of it. Yeah, I just don't trust that you're actually gonna pull this off, or that you know how to. So that's really my concern with it. But I mean, outside of that, yeah, I just hope that they figure it out. Because I love the idea of being able to play it anywhere and not necessarily being tied to a console. That actually makes me excited for gaming in general. So
yeah, if streaming gets better, I still feel like I need a console because I like to stream some games, but it's not quite good enough yet.
Yeah.
Like it's a little leggy still, and and I have really good internet here, and it works, and I've had fun with it, but it's not quite the same as like sitting down with the console yet. And that might be my version of old man yelling at the clouds, because I probably will get the next Xbox console just because I like to have, my computer and my consoles are a complete different part of the house, and they just don't, I like to have something that's dedicated for gaming, and I usually have both, and they're both connected to my TV, and I can just play whatever I want. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what happens in the future. We'll be here for it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not gonna leave the platform unless I certainly don't think it's going to be like dead. There was a minute there where we thought, like they're gonna shut it all down. That's what it felt like there a few months ago. It was like, Xbox is done. Like they're gone. It's over. They're gonna shutter the whole thing and just like keep up the servers for everyone to keep playing the games that they bought, and that's it. I've clearly, once you gave a green light to buy Activision for $70 billion, you're not going anywhere. Like Xbox is going to be around in some form. They just have to figure out what the hell they're doing. And yet, like you said, Kyle, I don't know that they're going to do that, but we'll be here for it, and we'll keep talking about it and see what they do.
I want to leave off by saying, like I said earlier, I'm still subscribed to Game Pass. I'm playing it on my PC. Like I don't have a console anymore, but I'm still playing the games on PC. And there will be a point where like Xbox is like the Game Pass is too expensive for me to really justify it. And at some point in time, like, yeah, I'm playing it on like my Steam Deck or like my hypothetical Steam Deck or my PC, but it's just not the same brand that I love. And I think that part kind of is what annoys me about it, because you've got PlayStation who's releasing stuff on PC. Like, it's just not the same environment anymore. So
right.
It's hard to get attached to it when it's
We're getting Helldivers 2 published by PlayStation on Xbox.
Yeah, which is nuts.
I never thought I would see the day. And I all these people coming out and being like, oh shit, they're going to bring Last of Us to Xbox. It's like, no. Okay, stop.
Nah.
But PlayStation has never put like anything on Xbox ever. And if they have had a game that started as a PlayStation game and put it on Xbox, they went to a second party publisher so that it didn't have to say their name on the title screen on it if you were playing it on an Xbox. When you open Helldivers 2 on Xbox, if you get it, I'm going to buy it for sure there.
Yeah.
When you open it there, it will say PlayStation in the opening title card.
That's going to be weird.
Nuts. Very weird. And just like it'll be Gears of War, we'll say Microsoft, Microsoft Studios. So It's a whole new world. It's a scary world. It's not all the way that we would have done it. I'm just doing my best to still appreciate those things that I love while understanding that the world is going to keep moving without me. And the more I kick and scream, the more I'm going to hate it. So I'm just going to I'm going to get mad about ruining people's lives and destroying entire studios and canceling a bunch of great, probably games that would have been really good potentially. Like that'll piss me off. But like, as far as the way the industry changes, like I have no power over that. I can vote with my wallet to an extent, but at the end of the day, these changes are going to happen. And it's like, the more I'm like, no, I want my 360 back, I'm just going to hate it. I'm just going to start resenting everything. And I don't want to just resent everything and be like sitting here playing on my old console when I'm 55 years old and missing out on whatever, in the next not literally the next Mass Effect, but like the next game that would be that great, the next Cyberpunk, the next Witcher, the next whatever they are, even if they're new IP. Like, I care more about the games that are going to keep coming out and playing new things and trying new things and being open-minded, that even though I am disappointed and I am kind of saddened by the way it's changing, it's like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to do anything to change it. So I tried. We already tried changing it. We've been voting with our wallet this whole time. I've been buying single-player games. I buy games on Xbox. I mean, that's a protest in and of itself. Mm-hmm. So, I'll probably wrap it up here, you guys. Did any of you watch this is kind of a left turn here, but did any of you watch the Ghost of Yotei or Yotei State of Play?
I certainly did.
I didn't get a chance to watch it, actually.
Kyle, just in a couple minutes, like, what do you think? Are you excited? Does it look, how do you feel about the character and the timeline being like different? Like, it's like hundreds of years later. Is it really Ghost? What did you think of the gameplay? All the, just give me like a summary. What do you feel about it? Because I'm excited for that game this year.
I mean, first things first, it's glaringly obvious that we're in for another astonishingly beautiful game.
Yeah, so pretty.
I mean, even if the game's terrible, I'm okay with just riding around on my horse, running through the flowers, and just being amazed by everything that I'm seeing. I am excited for it. I'm trying to somewhat limit that expectation, though. And the reason being is Ghost of Tsushima is an all-time great game for me. It's way up there. And I find that oftentimes I just don't think it's realistic to expect that again. It almost never happens where the sequel ends up being as great as that one game that finally really hit for you. So
I feel like especially not with PlayStation too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have felt the same, but I have felt like every second entry to all of their big series has not nearly been as good as the first one too.
I think it's just really hard to.
Except for I like Last of Us Part 2 better.
Oh,
not even better.
Yeah, I would say that's.
I mean, we're not talking about Naughty Dog. That's an anomaly. But I love the implementation of the switching between weapons. It kind of makes the changing of stances, like in Ghosts of Tsushima, it makes it make a little bit more sense. You're actually changing weapons, so of course the stance is going to be changing with that. I really like that idea. I like the idea of coming across important characters wandering about while you're at camp. I just hope that isn't something that ends up being overused. Oftentimes it's like they come out with these, great new ideas, and then when you actually play the game, it's like, all right, this is like the only way I'm interacting with people, so this is not that cool anymore,
Yeah, it did get a little repetitive.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they don't overuse that. But overall, that's what I'm trying to say is like I have a good feeling it's going to be awesome. I'm just trying to, calm myself down because I can't expect it to be Ghost of Tsushima.
That's probably smart. Yeah. Taylor, how are you? I know you didn't see it, but how are you feeling about what do you want from it, and how are you feeling? It's October 2nd, I think, is the date it's coming out, so it's right around the corner.
Yeah, I won't sit here and try and act like I've been like going media dark with like a purpose on Ghost of Yotei. I think the only thing I've really seen of it was the initial like announcement trailer that they had at the State of Play. I think it was last year or something like that, like Summer Games Fest. Like whatever trailer they showed at that point.
Yeah, it was like that. I think that was like the announcement trailer.
Yeah, so I really haven't seen any of it since then, but I think like you, Kyle, I was so smitten with Ghost of Tsushima. I think it was probably since The Last of Us Part 2, like the best PlayStation exclusive like I've played in a really, really long time, and I just fucking loved it. So it was kind of one of those things for me where I saw the state of play, saw that initial teaser trailer, got like little glimpses of the story and kind of what's going on, and I know it's taking place in a new setting, still within Japan, but like in another part of the country, and I was kind of sold. Like I was like, I'm gonna be there day one. Like there's no reason to market to me anymore. Like I know it's gonna be good, and I know it's gonna be solid, and I will be there for it anyway. So
yeah, the less I see, the better at this point, right?
Yeah, watching it only stands to like, I don't know, make me more excited for it than I need to be, you know? So
yeah.
They did a good job with the state of play, I will say. I was a little hesitant to watch it. I didn't want to watch it at first because I felt the same way. I'm like, I'm already excited. I feel like I'm either going to learn too much or I'm going to be disappointed by something, or I'm just going to get really excited and then I have to wait. But I started watching it and they just did a good job. It just feels like they're kind of celebrating like everything, all the hard work that they've done. And they wanted to tell us about some of the new ideas that they're adding in. I'm a little concerned with the storyline. Like young girl gets her family murdered and wants revenge. I'm like, I just played that. It's called Assassin's Creed Shadows.
I was about to ask you if you're ready to do that again.
But you know it's going to be better.
It'll be better.
Right?
Yes, it'll definitely be better. 100%. I'm not even like that's not even. Yeah, I understand that it'll be better, but damn, it's like really similar. But yeah, the gameplay will be better, and the stories. I'm hoping the story is better, right? I mean, that's probably not too much to ask for. But yeah, I mean, it looks fun. It looks like a classic sequel. And this took 5 years. Didn't it come out in 2020? Right?
I think so.
That's a good question.
I played it during the like depths of the pandemic.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'm pretty sure it came out in 2020. So 5 years. I mean, that's about as quick as a turnaround as you can get these days. I would like to see Sucker Punch maybe do something else after this. I understand.
It's 2020. Sorry,
2020. Cool.
Nice. Okay.
I feel like I get they wanted to do it again. It's like lightning in a bottle. Ghost of Tsushima was incredible. Everyone loved it. It was a huge hit. Do it again, right? Like you've got the momentum, you've got the gameplay loop down. You have the art. You're already in it. Your whole team just made this. It kind of makes sense. Like just get them going again. Get another 5 years on it. Make it even better than you did the first time. Nail it. And then I'm kind of hoping they do something different.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that I want a third Ghost of something game.
Yeah,
even if Yotei is
to
great.
Become a thing.
Yeah, it's like Sucker Punch is now the Ghost of studio, and that's all they do. It's like let's do something else after this.
If anything, though, if it ends up being really, really good,
yes.
Like, aren't you going to want a trilogy, though? Like, that's kind of like the...
No, because the second one has nothing to do with the first one.
Yeah.
It takes place like 200 years or 300 years after. It's unrelated to the first game in every way, story-wise.
Even still, I feel like my OCD would just call for, like, if there's a really good first and second game, like, there's no way you can end it off on just two.
You could make...
Like, I felt the same way about The Last of Us. Like...
Yes, I know. Well, but the story believes more. Like, the story does not feel completed with Last of Us.
Right.
Whereas if they, I just mean like, I'm not saying don't ever make another Ghost game again. I just mean like maybe for the next project they could do something else to like get out of it and then come back like 8 years later, halfway.
Yeah, I'd be open to that.
Halfway through the PS6 era and be like Ghost of whatever, and it's like, oh shit, they bring Ghost back, and it's going to be even more exciting because it's not the last thing they did the last two games they released. Because like the trilogy is tough because it's like you can't turn these games around. Like the Mass Effect games came out like right in a row. It's like, but
at least
came out between.
It seems like they were intended to be that way from the beginning,
But a lot of 360 era games.
Story.
Yeah, like a lot of 360 era games though came out quick.
Yeah,
multiple games. I mean, the Assassin's Creed had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the 360.
Yeah.
like right in a row, and they're big games and they were good. Like those were like some of the best games in the series. It's just easier. The standards were different, and now it's like you just got to make some insane game. Like it's got to cost $1 billion, and it's going to take 6 years of just bloody hard work to get a game out, and then you move on. It's like, man, I just hope we can figure out a way to. Not because I'm just impatient, but it just seems like, man, that would suck to spend that much time.
Right? Did we lose Taylor?
Yeah, Uh-oh. I think we lost Taylor. Well, we'll wait for him to come back in, but that was pretty much the show.
I think that's a sign.
I think that's a sign. I'll see if he
Taylor's
messages
had enough,
us.
Man.
He was like, you know what? I'm done. We'll see if he says anything. You coming back, Taylor? There he is.
Hey, sorry guys.
Hey, all good. We were just saying how we were just about to wrap up the show, and Taylor's like, I'm fucking out.
I was like, you don't want a third Ghost of Tsushima? I'm out of here.
I'm done. I'm done with this podcast.
I think actually his cat finally pulled the plug. Actually.
Right. She was like, boo. No, sorry about the connectivity issues there.
No worries at all. This is perfect. Now you're only 85% uploaded. The rest of us are 99% uploaded, sir. We'll see what happens there. I'll let you know if it makes a problem, but I think that's a good place to call it. Apparently 2 hours and 5 minutes is like our time here is what we're getting, which is pretty good. I feel like we're pretty good. Well, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun, and I'm really just enjoying doing this. We were talking about next week, our topic. I think we're going to kind of go back to the well on something here because we have Kyle with us now, and I just think it's fun to check in with new listeners potentially who don't know us as well. So we're going to go through our personal top 10 games of all time list next week. That's going to be our topic. So if you're hearing this, you want to write in, give us your top 5, your top 10, your favorite game of all time, whatever you want to do. It'll be really a fun one to get write-ins. We're just going to celebrate our favorite games of all time. We're not going to complain about Xbox and PlayStation and development time and any of that stuff. It's going to be a happy place to be. We're going to reminisce. We're going to love on games and celebrate our favorite games of all time and just kind of inform you guys of what our tastes are, and we want to know what your tastes are. And so that'll be a lot of fun. So make sure to write in. We'll if you're on the Discord, you can write in that way. We have a chat for that. And if not, you can join our Discord. We'll get that all figured out. You can also email us at thesologamer2019@gmail.com if you want to shoot a write in that way. But I think
I'm so excited for this. I've never really had the opportunity to really sit down and think about what are my
it's
hard.
Fun. I'm excited to think about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and so every now and then you'll play a game that's so good that you have to like figure out where the hell it's going to go.
Some spots have changed too. Like I don't know about you, Ian, but I think I might 100%. Have 1 or 2 games that have worked their way into the top 10 since our last time talking about it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll just be a good way to kind of get back into the topic discussion, and then we'll have a new kind of evergreen topic all about single player gaming every single week after that. Kyle, what do you have coming for this week? What are you getting up to this weekend? What's going on? What's happening in your life?
I mean, lately I've been getting back into figuring out streaming and putting that back together. A lot of my friends from our team is HSG Black. A lot of us are kind of getting back together and wanting to play games again. We all took kind of about a year and a half hiatus, and we just play like random amateur tournaments for League of Legends, and it's kind of fun to pretend like you're a pro for a moment and get into to the drafts
awesome,
and the strategy and it's I love sports, and so I love the competitiveness and the scouting part of it, and like you have to figure out who their best players are, what they like to play, and figure out a way to counter it. So you're prepping all week with your team. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And then I was like, you know what, maybe I should start streaming again, getting that back into the swing of things. So lately, I've been spending a lot of my time messing around with Streamlabs and TikTok and figuring out video editing, and then figuring out my overlays for the stream as well. So it's been fun. So I don't know when I'm going to start doing it. I don't know of an exact time, but I am going to start streaming again. I'm excited for it.
Well, when that happens, man, let us know.
We'll make sure I would love to
and
drop by and watch. That'd be fun.
Yeah, drop by the stream, and we'll make sure and talk. Get all your info on the show and as well, so any listeners can jump in as well. Taylor, your last word, sir.
Yeah, no, nothing crazy for me this week, just moving and stuff. So I'll be doing that. But another great week, another great episode. Excited to be here with you guys. And next episode's going to be fun. I'm excited. I think I might even start working on mine, like after we get off here. So
yeah, I mean, the moment you mentioned it before we even started, Ian, I was like, the whole time I've been in the background kind of thinking about it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that as well. Figure out those moths, Taylor. Right?
Get back to the moth room.
Figure out the moth room. Get to the moth room. That's your homework.
Yeah.
Come up with your top 10 games of all time and get the moths figured out.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I just get to the point where the game really hooks me, because I've heard great things. I just have to get to that, whatever that part is. There's some part that's supposed to hit me.
There must be something. For sure. Awesome, guys. All right, everybody. Well, we'll catch you next week, next Friday, with our top 10 games of all time. We hope to hear from you guys, and we can't wait to have that discussion. But until then, hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you next week on the Solo Gamer Podcast. Later.
See you guys.
Bye.